What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me, joining another or jumping into another edition of Cutting the Red Tape. Got a special guest with me here today who's joining us all the way from Hawaii. And I will let him go ahead and introduce himself. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Donald Jacobson, also known as Joe Jacobson. I am the Junior Vice Commander of the Bushmasters Post 114 American Legion from the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community. So we are here in Honolulu, and we are posting colors for their first annual powwow. So that's why I'm here. And we also have a strong tie to the island for two reasons. The Bushmasters was a World War II famous unit made up of Native Americans from the Salt River Pima Maricopa and Gila Nation. They were given the nickname Bushmasters. One of the barracks that was here still today has the bullet holes from the bombing of December 7th. And also, we are the only ones that have one of the flags and one of the memorials still at Salt River Field. So we, every year on December 7th, bring out the U.S. Flag that flew over the memorial, and the boathouse that was part of the USS Arizona is there at Salt River Field. So anybody could come out and see it. And on December 7th, you could come out and see the flag. We do a breathing ceremony and so forth. So with this powwow that's taking place, they wanted us to come out and be a part of it. And that's our ties to the island.
Fantastic. I had no idea that, we had such a rich history from, our area that we live here in Arizona, all the way tied back to Hawaii. So yeah. Fantastic work. Fantastic work. So just tell us a little bit about you, Donald. Tell us kind of, your history of growing up and, kind of what, I guess, jaded you or made you want to join the military.
So I grew up as a Marine Corps brat. And when my dad got out of the military in 76, he was kind of forced out due to the fact that my parents split up, which, a lot of military families, that happens. So my dad was given the choice: you continue your Marine Corps career or go home and take care of your son. So he chose me. And then when I was eligible to join, I joined the Army National Guard out of Oregon. I did 2 years service with them, and then I chose to join the Marine Corps myself in active duty. So for me, it was more of a choice between, do I want to continue in the Guard, or do I want to go see the world and enjoy myself? And growing up on Marine Corps bases, I knew it was like, and I knew that's where I wanted to be active duty wise. So I really enjoyed it. I got to be in the Marine Corps, and part of my duties were being assigned to USS Midway, which is a museum today, so in San Diego. So yeah, that was kind of interesting to be a part of that. And I got to be on her during the first Gulf War. And then we came home, and I continued my Marine Corps career for a couple more years. And then I got out, and ever since then, I've been working with veterans, supporting veterans, helping veterans with their plans, being active in different organizations such as the Disabled American Veterans, the American Legion, the VFW. I've held posts all the way up to senior vice commanders, junior vice commanders in each one of those organizations. So it's been enriching for me due to the fact that a lot of us veterans, when we get out, we don't know where to go. But at the same time, that's a camaraderie that we miss. I'm not one who sits in the E-Club all the time, and a lot of those places are kind of like that. But there are other organizations out there today for the younger veterans that are coming out, like Wounded Warrior Project and so forth, that keep that camaraderie going and keeps their energy going. And that's something that we really need, is to be active. As veterans, if we sit still, we start isolating ourselves. And so that's why I joined Color Guards and Honor Guards. I do what I do.
Fantastic, fantastic. So again, you talk about the camaraderie, as far as, being in the military, and then, hanging out with, more camaraderie as soon as you got out, whether it's your VFWs, American Legions, whatever the case may be, that's where you kind of found a place to, I don't want to say where you can thrive, but a place where you felt comfortable. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I felt comfortable in it because there is an age difference and so forth that you'll find in each of those clubs, and I know it's one of the things that the clubs are struggling with, especially with the post 9/11 veterans, because there's that disconnect of age and the disconnect between the last major wars. I mean, Desert Storm One was quick and fast, but in the 80s and 90s, we were jumping all over the place. We were going Grenada, we were Somalia, so Panama. I mean, the time that I spent in the military, I went from Panama to Desert Storm to Somalia, and it was just one after the other. But you're talking about these young guys that spent 20 plus years at a war, and a lot of them spent that whole time. A lot of them spent 10 years. Some of them spent 3 tours. So there is that disconnect between them, just like it was with me coming out of the military and the Vietnam veterans. The only success that I had was that the fact that my dad was a Vietnam veteran. And so hanging with him and his friends is what really helped me. But there still is that disconnect. And as I continue to move up in the ranks of those organizations, I saw that there is a disconnect with the younger veterans. And so that's why having organizations such as the Glory Project and other ones that are starting today to fill that gap and fill that need for those veterans, it's really needed. So you hear, and I'm sorry to say, you'll hear organizations complain about it. How do we get the younger ones in there? They'll come in time. You can't force them in there. Eventually they'll come. But these guys are families, kids. They're not going to go into a place that's smoking, drinking. It's not family oriented. And no matter what you say, truthfully, honestly, I've sat in those meetings, it's not. So having those other outlets for these young guys is so important. And we should all be supporting that.
Right.
And that's what I like about it and so forth is, I found my niche and I was able to move along slowly, work through all my issues from the military because I have PTSD, anxiety, depression, all that. But it took years of treatment, and a lot of it was going out, being part of a color guard, being a part of an honor guard. And, just because we're out of the uniform doesn't mean we can drop the pack. Keep the pack on you, do something, help other veterans and so forth. And that's why we as Bushmasters, that's our key. We help our Native American community the strongest due to the fact that unfortunately we all know the VA system, we all know how it works, but as Native Americans, we were told we didn't have that entitlement. Yeah, you served, you did your time, but you don't have the entitlement of the VA. You only get to go to the Indian hospital. Well, now things are changing, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, you have the entitlement, you've had it all these years. Well, that's where we have to step in and we have to take care of our own. And so that's what we do. And that's why being also part of a member of the OVC Council, which is the Oklahoma Veterans Council of 8 tribes in Arizona, and there's 22 tribes, and we're hoping to have all 22 eventually. That's what we do. We take care of them, and when veterans die, we go and give them their last rites. We go and give them the honors that they're due because nobody else is doing it. So that's what we do.
So can you elaborate on OVC a little bit more, kind of how it got started? Where was the fire at that kind of, I guess, lit the match and started the fire for everything to start coming together?
Yeah, so the OVC Council started with a couple of gentlemen down in the Gila Nation, and they got together with a couple other veterans that they knew, and through board dancing, through powwows, but they all came together and realized that there was a common need to support the veterans. So they were able to get together with the VA and Department of Veterans of Arizona and kind of figure something out. How can we get, DOD gear? How can we get, supplies? How can we get the hygiene that's needed and so forth? And, the military has a lot of it. And a lot of it just gets sold. As we all know, you could go down to any of the, military surplus stores and find tons of gear that's brand new. Well, they get it from DOD. So DOD started shipping it to us. And we started holding these what are called stand downs, just like the Arizona stand down. and so forth, but ours is for Native Americans. And so we started doing that, and we started getting the VA involved, coming out, registering the veterans, making sure they're taken care of, and so forth, bringing in mental health organizations, bringing in your organization to it, you know, because you've been attending them lately. So as you know, that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to help those that are not being seen, or those that have no contact, because still today on the tribes, on the reservations, there's still lack of water, there's still lack of electricity, there's still lack of cell phone service. The internet almost does not exist, and that's their world. And so we're trying to connect the outside world to them to get them the resources. And so when we saw that need, we all jumped on board, and we've been working hard with these different organizations to make this bigger and better. They know that we're a nonprofit organization. They know that we're the ones that have to lead it because it's our people. We know the languages, we understand them, we know their fears. And so that's what we're trying to do, is trying to get them the help that they need. And we've been successful at it. Do we want to see all 22 tribes of Arizona involved? Yes, we would love to see that. And eventually that's our goal, is to do that. We're looking at how we could continue to not just do 8 events a year, but we want to do multiple events probably every single month if we can, you know, because once you get 22 on board, you know, you're talking a lot of events, and that would be fine with this. So none of us get paid for it. It's all volunteer work, you know, and we have to go through all the gear, everything that gets shipped to us, everything that gets donated to us. We have to go through it, sort it out, find out what's good, what's bad, because sometimes donations come in and they're just not usable.
Yeah.
So we have to go through all that, and that's all time consuming, but we do it because it's what we need to do.
Right. And I think that's what most draw me to you when we met. I think the first time we talked, my first thought was, hey man, this is a straight up dude right here. This dude is legit. He is someone who is going to go get the job done. He wants to support veterans. So I don't know, man. I think when I first, as far as with the Bushmasters, during COVID, man, I must have dropped off
during COVID.
I don't know,
you
80 bags of toilet paper, hygiene
supplies. Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's the thing that we needed at the time. You know, we needed that stuff because the Navajo Nation was shut down completely, and they weren't getting no supplies. You know, right. And there was other organizations that I had belonged to that were trying to assist and help them. We were trying to take care of the tribes that were down here in the lower areas, because we knew the Navajo Nation was getting help, but we also knew that veterans around here were not getting help. So we were trying to take care of them. You came in, dropped off a bunch of cleaning supplies and stuff that was desperately needed, and we got those out to those veterans and their families so that they had stuff. Because even after we came out of this pandemic, the tribes never officially came out of it. Right. They were still in lockdown mode, because for us it was fear. You know, you're talking about a different culture. You're talking about people who don't truly believe in a lot of Western medication and medicine, that still hold to the old ways, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And those are barriers that we know how to work through and get them the help. And that's what we do, is we work with that and we teach them, and we are successful at doing that. And we know that you're always going to have traditional people, and you have to approach them traditionally, where other organizations just don't understand that. You know, they come in and they think, hey, this is what you need. No, it's not what we need. Let us tell you what we need, because right. We know what we need. And so that's where the OVC steps in, is that we know what we need, and we reach out to organizations like you. And I mean, it's great because recently you just got a grant or something from the tribe, you know, that's right. Really helping you, and you're turning around and helping others. And that's where we see success in building a partnership. So,
right. And I think it's really important to highlight, you know, when you come into different situations, you know, wherever I go, it doesn't matter, all across the state of Arizona, my ears are open. I am not going in and telling people, hey, this is what you need to do. Like, sit down, shut up, listen for 2 seconds. You'll get the answers you desire.
It's kind of like that AA thing. Take the cotton out of your mouth, put it in your ears, or take it out of your ears and put it in your mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Action, action, action. You know, listen to what needs to be done, because if you can't turn around and do the action that they're requesting, they don't want you back. And
Right.
that's something about Native American tribes, is that we'll give you the opportunity, but if you mess up, you're not coming back.
Right.
It's trust, honesty. Your word is your bond, and it's like you always say. You know, you can talk all you want, but it's time for action.
Right.
You know, and that's what it is. So,
and again, people get mixed up and say, yeah, I can do all this and I can do all that. If you can't do it, why are you talking about it? Just I can't do it at this time. That's okay. That is okay if you can't do something at this time.
right.
But don't go up there and make a bunch of fluff and act like you're going to do X, Y, and Z when you can't.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's where I kind of sit across the table and I look at some of these other organizations and I'm just like, man, hey, I know what I'm about, but I can't call some of these other people.
Right. Because we both sat in those circles. We both still sit in those circles, and we both look at each other at times and go, okay, bye. And we need to work with those organizations that are action. We need to work with those organizations that are not going to come in here and try to do something and then walk out and plaster it all over the news media. Right. We're not here for that. We're here for the after effects. We're here to continue helping them and so forth. So that way, hold on a second, I'm getting some coffee.
No worries, no worries.
So it's early here, but it's beautiful.
So and let's go two different directions here. If somebody wanted to help the Bushmasters, what are some ways that you guys would like some assistance, or what are some things that somebody could do to assist you guys?
So we are a nonprofit organization, just because we are part of the American Legion, which is a nonprofit organization. So one of the biggest things that really can help us is any type of donation. If money's one of the great ones, and so forth, because then we can take that money and we can use it where it's really needed. So like, veterans on the tribal nations, or veterans that are Native American outside, which is our biggest, priority for us, and so forth, is that we can take that money and we can pay their bills, just like you recently took care of some veterans recently. So we can take care of their bills. We can take care of, rent. If they need something like an AC, because a lot of these places don't. If they need a solar panel, so that way we can hook up electricity. Those things we could definitely need. And so those are things that we can use, is money. And unfortunately, a lot of people say, hey, why do you always need money? Well, we need money because it's a nonprofit organization, and we try to do fundraisers to support and so forth, and these travel expenses do cost us money, but we do get support from the tribe on it, and then the rest of it comes out of our pocket to go and help. And another thing would be donating to the OVC. If you donate to the OVC, that helps us to help 8 tribes and so forth. So the Bushmasters represent the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Nation. And I'll say it. A lot of people that are probably listening going, oh, you get all that casino money. No, we don't. We don't get a per cap. Not every Native American gets a casino check. That does not exist. We don't get paid by the government. We don't collect a check from the government. We're just like everyone else. We either work and earn a check, or we are flat broke and homeless.
Right.
Same story.
Simple as that.
It's simple as that. So yeah. So I mean, it's really donations that really help. So I mean, if you got blankets that are brand new and you want to donate, great. If jackets brand new, you want to donate, great. We can always use those. The OVC is where we keep a lot of our stuff so that it can go out to the other 8 tribes. And that's just how it works. So, but yeah, that's really where it's at. It's just, money donations really help us, because then we can pinpoint exactly where it needs to go.
Okay. And is that on separate websites from Bushmasters, American Legion, and OVC, separate websites?
Yeah, they do have separate websites. And so if somebody is trying to reach out and can't do that, they can get in contact with you, and you can get in contact with me, and we'll figure it out. So that way, you have my email, so that way you can, call me or whatever, saying somebody's having issues. We do have a brand new Facebook page that's set up for the American Legion Bushmasters Post 114 out of Salt River. So that's up and running. We're adding stuff to it every week. So a lot of the events that we've been going to, so we've been going to California and Denver. We just came from, and we're here in Hawaii now. We're looking at going to New Mexico, Chicago, to different events. And in doing that, we're bringing the tribal recognition, the veteran recognitions of Native Americans to these cities and states, to events that they're requesting us to go to. But it also helps our tribal council to get in touch with other tribal councils and find out what's working, what's not working, because we are sovereign nations. We are separate and so forth. So not only are we abiding by what the U.S. rules are, but we also have to abide by tribal rules. And those tribal governments and U.S. governments work together at times, and they don't work together at times. But it's one of those things, we need to figure out what works for each tribe. And a lot of the issues right now is electricity, water, and food. And it's the same a lot of places around the United States, unfortunately. It's just something that we're facing.
Jeez. Man, well, thank you for fighting a good fight. I mean, I know how much volunteer hours you put in. And, for anybody out there who doesn't know, myself and Donald, man, we put in a lot of work. We don't get paid for this. We don't ask for any dimes. My phone's always on. His phone's always on. We're always putting in work. And it's a testament to what you do and how much you care. Yeah. Well, we like to both be getting paid. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be nice, but yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes, like I always say, to cut through the red tape, it's sometimes just not possible.
It's so much easier is cutting through the red tape, because as you and I both know, that red tape, it's ridiculous. Right. It is so ridiculous, and a lot of veterans out there understand that, especially when you're trying to work with the VA to get your disability benefits and so forth. Every veteran, no matter who you are, no matter what your MOS is, you automatically get 10% due to being on the rifle range. Go and claim it. Go file for it. Because if you start losing your hearing down the road, you have a claim open, and now you can claim for hearing loss. These are things that veterans don't understand. Filing over 1,600 claims I filed against the VA, and I've been successful on all of them. I have one that I'm still fighting on, one, and that's my father who passed away in August. I'm still fighting his claim, and it's ridiculous. He should have been awarded 100% decades ago. It's just the VA and the red tape, and that's just, to me, it's just dumbfounded. To me, it's like, why even have the VA system? Just give us Blue Cross Blue Shield. Let's go to regular doctors.
Right.
And that's for me. I tell every veteran, do not file your own claim. Do not get a veterans service organization like the American Legion, the VFW, or the DAV to file it. And for all those people in the Phoenix metropolitan area, the VFW, Lisa Miller, is one of the greatest national service officers fighting claims, and her and I work together constantly. And to me, she was a godsend. She's taught me everything, and I've been doing this since 2011, fighting claims. It took me over 20 years to get my 100%. And every veteran's entitled to getting their stuff. You twisted your ankle, your knee, and all that. As you get older, that damage is going to come back and haunt you.
Right.
It's going to haunt you, and you're not going to think about it. Oh, well, when I got out of the military, I went and worked and did construction. That's why it's hurt me. No, the initial injury occurred when you were in the military, and that's how you have to fight this. Is you have to go all the way back to them. And when you go to the VA, don't sit there and say, I feel good today. Tell them the truth. You're in pain. Don't be like a good person and say, oh, I'm okay. Don't say those things. Tell the truth. You're in pain. you're in pain. You know, if you're hurting, if you're trying to crawl out of bed in the morning, you're hurting, tell them that.
Right.
These are the things that you need to say, so forth. And a lot of veterans, we've been taught, don't say anything, suck it up, drive on.
Yep.
That was
Especially in the Marine Corps.
yeah, especially in the Marine Corps. You're not going to do
Especially in
that.
the Marine Corps.
You know? Yeah. You want to make rain? You better not say a damn thing.
Yep.
You know? So, yeah. But yeah, those days are gone and they're over with. So we don't have to have that mentality. We need to have the mentality of taking care of us and taking care of our own, because nobody else is going to do it. We left. We're done. Sea bag is unpacked. You know, it is unpacked and there's no more uniform. Government's not there for us. They got what they needed out of us. Now it's time to take care of us. And that's how we have to look at it.
And I guess I wish that's one of the things that I would have done, is probably went to a, veteran service officer and spoke to an organization to help me out with that. Cause again, when I got out, 2008, it was, man, this VA is a load of crap. And I just turned away, never looked back, so,
right.
It was what it was. I was like, all right, I'm not going to get anywhere with this, and I'm just going to go make my own way.
Yeah. That's why every veteran, when you get out of the military, go to the VA, register, get your name in there, get registered, because when it comes time for that claim, you want to at least be registered. You may not use the VA. If you got insurance, go outside the VA. That's why I tell every veteran, if you have to use the VA, then use the VA, but use them. Use them. Don't let them use you. Make sure they're taking care of you right. Check the drugs. Make sure they're giving you the right medications. They overdosed my dad, and that's why he's dead. And so you need to take care of yourself.
Fantastic.
That's how I see it.
Wow. Man, awesome. Just powerful words. So for anybody out there, any veterans, young, old, whatever the case may be, when we're talking about veterans, helping veterans, what do you see, man? How can we better assist each other?
I think the biggest thing is that, we really got to pay attention to what's going on in Washington, because if you keep watching, the VAs, they're taking away our benefits. I mean, they're in the process right now trying to take away benefits. They're in the process of going and saying, hey, guess what, veteran? You may be on unemployability and collecting 100%. But as soon as you turn 62, you're not getting it anymore. And then what's going to happen? That veteran who couldn't qualify for 100% service connected because of his injuries and so forth. And so he was at 60, 70, 80, or 90, and he filed for individual unemployability to help him, to at least help him. And trust me, $3,600 in today's society is not much.
Right.
I barely make on it. And that's why I have to have a second job. But I also volunteer, as you have a second job and you're doing this. We know that 100% is not today's market value. It is nothing, And if you look at what the higher ranking NCOs are making in today's military, $9,000, $10,000, $12,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Yet when they get out, it's going to drop. If they're lucky to get 100% when they get out, it's going to drop. That retirement check, enjoy it, because in today's society, it's not much. Right. You struggle, So those are the things that right now they want to take away that individual employability when you reach 62, because why? Now all of a sudden you're going to get maybe that 60% from the VA, and then you're going to have to go on Social Security because now you're at the retirement age. But guess what? That Social Security and your VA, they don't connect. They actually fight each other. So you can lose even more money. You may think that, I'm at 62 and I've worked this long and I've earned this much as my retirement. You're not going to get it because you're on disability. Wow. And that's that thing about it. So getting veterans to 100% and making sure that individual employability stays there is what needs to stay. And so I don't care if you're a Republican, I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you like Trump or Biden, any of that stuff. Who cares? It's us. It's us as veterans that you need to care about. If a Republican's doing something, tell them stop. If a Democrat is trying to push something, tell them to stop. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, because unfortunately that's what a lot of people are doing, is drinking Kool-Aid right now, and they're not investigating. They're not researching, and unfortunately that's our educational system. They're not teaching us it, They're not teaching the younger generation everything. This generation of veterans are smart, they're intelligent, they know how to use the internet, they know how to research things. So stay on top of these things. Just don't sit there and go, oh, my vote don't count. Oh yeah, well, it does when it comes to veterans, because what? Those veteran organizations that we've been naming, they go to Washington and they lobby every year. So part of you being a part of those organizations are making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing right. Don't let them do something that's going to hurt us. So there is a lot of responsibility for us veterans. We just can't sit back and let it be taken away from us.
I love it. I love it. Well, we'll call it right there for you guys out there who want to donate and support either Bushmasters or OVC. I will get with Donald here and get the connects and the links so I can post that on this video. And of course, if you want to support Veterans 5 to 9, please do subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So again, we can have a permanent funding source to be able to support veterans and service members out there and make it happen. Because although I love writing all these grants and everything else, like I said, I do this for free. So it'd be nice to be able to have something that's, liquid and fluid, so I can provide the veterans.
Yeah,
right
most definitely.
So
yeah, any of that funding would help you find somebody else to write those grants for you.
It would be nice. So
yeah.
Again, Don, man, thank you for your time. All the way out there in Hawaii, you guys are doing your things out there. Please support them. These guys are doing great work. We need to support our veterans in, all communities, not just one specific one, but everywhere. So let's do what we can to support veterans.
Yep, most definitely. All right, brother. Simplify. You have a good one. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you, guys. Simplify all.
Yep.